Alright, so today we will be surviving 2,100 days in hardcore Minecraft. And what I want to do is actually drain out all of the water in the entire ocean monument. That alone is an already massive project, but once I'm done, I will also be decorating the entire ocean monument in this video. I'm going to completely transform it to look like the lost city of Atlantis, and then I'm going to make it look like it's under attack by the end ships in Minecraft. It is going to be absolutely insane. So be sure to stick around to the end of the video to see how it all turns out, and don't forget to hit the like button because liking the video really helps it out and it really helps YouTube to promote the video more. And with that, let's just jump into it. So the easiest way to actually drain out the monument is with an absolute ton of sponges, but the problem is I actually don't have any. And ironically, the only place you can find sponges is at ocean monuments. Problem is, I've never actually found any, so the easiest way to find more monuments to try and find sponges, you can actually trade to villagers 4 maps to a bunch of different ocean monuments. So that's what I was doing right here, and I got a few different maps to give me a few different locations to some monuments. Now, if you noticed, one of those maps indicated that I had already visited an ocean monument nearby, but actually that ocean monument isn't even here anymore. This was actually going to be the monument that I was going to drain out. If you remember it from some of my previous videos, it used to be literally like right here on screen right now, but it's not here anymore because I actually deleted a bunch of chunks near my spawn when I updated my world to 1.18. I used to have an ocean monument only like 100 blocks from my base, but it's gone now, so that's kind of a shame. So yeah, the map was kind of glitched out because it was still thinking I was on a previous world, but it wasn't, so yeah, Minecraft, I don't know. But we still had the other maps, which should point us to some new ocean monuments since how they are far enough away. So I went ahead and followed this one, and I found this ocean monument pretty quickly, and now we just have to swim around this thing, and hopefully we find some sponges. The thing is, the sponges are never in the same room. There's just a bunch of random rooms that spawn inside monuments, and you gotta hope that one of those random rooms just happens to have some sponges. So after swimming around in it for a little while, finally I did come across the sponges. Problem is the stupid Elder Guardian gave me mining fatigue and I couldn't mine them, and I forgot to bring some milk with me, so I had to fly back home, grab that, and then I actually killed all of the Elder Guardians. That way they stopped giving me mining fatigue, and I actually had some milk with me to go ahead and clear away all of those potion effects, and then finally we could actually mine up all of these sponges. Now each room only gives you, I think, around 25 to 30 sponges, which isn't really enough. I kind of want more than that, so we're gonna have to keep on exploring. And in this ocean monument I did find a second sponge room, so that gave me probably around 50 in total, but again, I still wanted more, and I still had a few other maps pointing me to a few other monuments, so I figured I might as well go explore them as well to try and get as many sponges as possible. So I just went through all of that. I did manage to find, I think, 2 more sponge rooms throughout all of that. It's the same process. Don't really need to bother you with all of that too much, but yeah, throughout all of that, we now managed to get nearly 2 stacks of sponges. And actually, the easiest way to turn all of these wet sponges into dry sponges is just go into the nether and place them all down, and they will instantly dry up. Because once it picks up water, it can no longer do so again until you dry it out. Now, also to get this project done, I needed an absolute ton of glass because I needed to build a giant border around my ocean monument where I was going to be draining the water. So I went ahead and flew out to my desert, and I went ahead and moved my beacon really quick because I had mined up all of the sand in the area that beacon reached to give me haste to mine faster. So yeah, I had to move that really quick, went ahead and grabbed myself a few shulker boxes worth of sand, and now we just had to go over and turn all of that sand into glass. I'm sure most of you already know how this is done, don't need to bore you with that, so with one simple clean transition, there you go. All of our sand is now smelted into glass, and we're ready to go. And now what I did is I actually went ahead and scoped out the perfect ocean monument to drain. It had a nice clear area, and then I just went ahead and built another portal just to get there as quickly as possible, since how it was probably like 1,500 blocks away from my base. So just go through this simple nether portal and boom, we're right here, right at our ocean monument. Easy as that. So to get started, I went to the center of the ocean monument, went away 50 blocks from the center, and then just built a giant circle around the entire monument. And this is the entire area that we were actually going to be draining out. So now all we have to do is just extend all of this glass down to the base of the ocean, and it's actually kind of annoying to do so due to all of these guardians being here just constantly attacking you while you are trying to do it. I had to kill like, I don't even know how many dozens of guardians while doing all of this. It was is so annoying. Yeah, the process is super simple. You just go down, place glass, go up, place glass. Yeah, it takes a while, but it's super simple. I had all of the glass that I needed stored in my shulker boxes, and I actually had one thing left that I wanted to do before we started this. I actually wanted to build a beacon to give me speed, because I figured having speed in water will make me move just a little bit faster, so I'll probably be able to get everything done a little bit faster. It's just really nice to have a beacon and the potion effects whenever you're working on a project like this, so I just got that done really quick, and then finally we got to work on placing all of the glass. All in all, I think it took me somewhere around 45 minutes to place down all of this glass, which actually isn't too bad. I thought it was going to take me longer than that. So we just got all of that done really quickly, and then went ahead and cleared up all of the kelp and seagrass and whatnot inside that little area. And now really all that is left to do is just drain out all of the water. And it sounds simple, but it takes a really, really long time to do so. I went ahead and actually went in a creative world to test all of this out, to try and figure out the fastest way to do a bunch of things, and I eventually came up with a system here. So we needed to drain out 4 blocks of water at a time, because we were going to be placing the sponges on a wall, and a sponge can reach 4 blocks in each direction, so clearing 4 blocks of water just makes the most sense. And then we go ahead and just use a simple repeater mechanism, attach a piston to it, and now we can just go ahead and stand in this one spot, place sand, and the repeater just shoves all of the sand to build our wall sections where we can drain out the water. Now, I did have to eventually move the piston a couple of times, because a piston can only shove a maximum of something like 12 or 13 blocks, so I did have to move it a few times, but it still, in my opinion, was probably the fastest and easiest way to build the wall. Also, once that wall was built, I also just went ahead and quickly expanded my pyramid and added a second beacon on top of it to give myself haste too. Because one piece of advice I saw was actually when you place down the sponge, just instantly break it instead of letting it sit there. Because if you just let it sit there, then you're gonna have to try and like tower up and break all of the sponges once you're done. But if you just break them as soon as you place them, then there you go. It's just a whole lot faster and a whole lot easier. And with haste too, we can pretty much instantly break them. We go through this entire process using all of the sponges until eventually this tiny little section is all drained out of water. We then just move section by section by section, 4 blocks at a time, until all of it's drained out. And once we build a new section, we can actually destroy this entire sand wall, so that way we can save on all of the supplies we need and just keep on reusing all of the sand. And by having my nether portal right here, where I travel back to my home base, that's just a super simple, easy place where I can dry out all of my sponges pretty much instantly without having to worry to smelt them. And so, yeah, that's really just it. That's the process. That's what I have to do for probably the next, I don't know, 10 hours or so to drain all of this out, all the while trying not to be annoyed by the excessive amount of guardians that are trying to attack me, which is really annoying. Yeah, to drain out this entire one section here, I believe this took me probably like 20 minutes. I forget. I remember I did do the math, and I figured doing the entire thing was probably going to take me about 10 hours to clear out. So yeah, once we actually add the second sand wall, now we can destroy the other one. So that way we don't have to have an excessive amount of sand. And the easiest way to do so is either with buttons or with torches. Basically, you just break the bottom sand block, add a torch or a button, and they all automatically break. I decided to go with torches because that also adds light and will prevent mobs from spawning should it be nighttime while I'm building any of this. So I figured that's a win-win situation. We get all of our sand back, and we add lighting to prevent mobs from spawning. And so there you go. We now have this giant chunk all completely dried up and the water gone. We now just continue going, like I said, 4 blocks at a time, and eventually we will save on sand and a little bit of time when we get to the monument, because that's just blocks in the way without actually having to drain any water. But overall, it still is going to take quite a long time. Clearing out these 2 sections that I'm showing you right here, I believe took me somewhere around 40 to 50 minutes, which it only got longer from there because the circle kept on getting bigger the further we went along. So it kept on taking me longer and longer and longer to do each new section. So after all of that work, we've cleared out maybe a 1/6 of this after a couple hours of work. Yeah, and it was only going to take me longer from here because I wasn't really trying my hardest. I was kind of only half paying attention to this, and it was at this point that I kind of just stopped with the time lapses because I was actually watching a video game tournament while doing all of this, and I kept on like pausing and logging out to pay attention to the tournament, and I kept on messing up the recording. Yeah, that's basically what I was doing, just watching a video game tournament while clearing out water from an ocean monument. Also, one thing I had to do was I had to build this one little row here because it blocked the guardians from being able to see me while I was placing down the sand, which was really convenient because I was having to kill like 20 guardians every time I was building a row, because the closer I got to the center, the more guardians there were there, the more they tried to attack me. So this one simple stone wall that I added, preventing them from being able to see me, it just made my life a little bit easier. So yeah, this is like the last time lapse I recorded before I really started paying attention more to the video game tournament than I was actually building this wall and focusing on time lapses. Here is all of this, and once this is done, I will check back in with you guys once I'm about halfway done, and there you go. I'm halfway done, kind of. I'm a little less than halfway done at this point. I've probably put in maybe 7 hours of work, but again, that's not really consistent work, working as hard and as fast as I can because I was only half paying attention, but still 7 hours to get basically halfway done isn't too bad considering I thought this was going to take longer when I initially started. This is basically it. There's not really much more else to say. This is just, it's the same process over and over and over again until all of the water is gone. I did eventually figure out how to make my piston system a little bit more reliable to hide me from the guardians and to be as fast and as simple as possible. So yeah, that's really the only improvement I made. And so yeah, I'll check back in with you guys in a couple of hours. And a couple of hours later, we've now made it past the midway point of the monument. We're now probably like 60% done. And this is right around when the video game tournament actually finished. So I could finally actually start putting in all of my attention and focus and effort into all of this. So yeah, that was really nice. It was definitely gonna be a lot faster now. But basically, also, what I was doing that was making this a whole lot easier for me is I was actually leaving all of the water inside the monument. And the bulk of the guardians were actually spawning inside one massive room in the monument rather than out in the open. So they stopped attacking me as much since how they were all spawning in here now. So yeah, the more I was draining this out, the easier it was getting not having to deal with all of these guardians. But I am tired of repeating myself, showing you guys the same progress over and over and over again. So I am just going to complete the rest of the thing in one simple, easy montage. And here you go. This is the entire process. What you're looking at right here is probably 5 or so hours of work, all condensed down into maybe a 15-second montage. But there you go. The entire monument is finally all drained out. And now all that was really left to do was just drain all of the water inside of the monument, which probably only took me 15 or 20 minutes. And again, it's really the same process. You just grab the sponges, you go inside, you place the sponges, you drain it all out. It's super simple and super boring. You're just getting rid of all of the water. But once all of that was done, all of this was cleared out and no more guardians were spawning. We were completely clear and we could finally actually start decorating this thing. And like I said, I wanted to pretend like this ocean monument was under attack by the end city ships, right? So I needed to actually grab all of the supplies to build the end city. I also needed to terraform this entire area to look like it was, you know, covered in grass and trees and whatnot. So I have to do all of those things. So I need to go really quick, grab a bunch of supplies. And so these are all of the blocks we are actually going to need to build an end ship. So the hardest thing to get here is the purpur blocks. You could just break an end city and then use those blocks. But actually the easiest way to get them to break all of these like chorus fruit trees or whatever, and then pick up all of the chorus fruit. And then what you do is you actually just cook all of that chorus fruit and it turns into popped chorus fruit. And then you craft the popped chorus fruit into the purpur blocks. And so overall, it didn't take me that long at all to get more than enough of all of the purpur blocks that I needed to make all of the end ships, because we were actually going to be building not one, but maybe like 3 or 4 end ships all attacking this ocean monument. Also, one thing I wanted to do was actually destroy all of this gravel here and completely cover this entire area with grass. That way I could plant trees and flowers and whatnot. And so I just went ahead and did all of that. And it actually didn't take me very long. It only took me like 15 or so so minutes to destroy all of this gravel because Ocean Monument takes up the bulk of the space, and I mean, you can instantly mine gravel with a shovel, so really didn't take that long at all. I then went ahead and evened out a lot of the land a bit with my pickaxe, breaking a bunch of stone, and we were ready to go on that front. Now, all I had to do was cover all of this in grass and dirt, but I kind of forgot to pay attention to how much grass and dirt that I needed. I let most of the gravel that I mined just despawn, so I simply just found the surface area of the top of a cylinder, which is what we are in right now, a cylinder. I then subtracted the surface area of the monument because the monument is square, so it's super easy to find the surface area of that. So all in all, from that math, that told me I needed pretty much exactly 2.5 shulker boxes worth of dirt and grass to fill all of this in. So I went and grabbed all of that. We went ahead and just filled all of this in with all of that grass, with all of that dirt, and there you go. Now, I wanted to decorate this entire area with trees, and I figured jungle trees would probably work the best, and I think would look best with the aesthetic of the monument that we have right now. So I went ahead and flew out to a jungle and just started breaking an absolute ton of leaves with a fortune farming utensil that gave me a ton of saplings I needed. And so we just went around, planted all of those, and then we could just bone meal and grow those. And I had a general idea of how I wanted this all to look. I wanted to have all of like the really super big jungle trees to the sides and behind the monument, and then we would leave this little area right here in front of the monument kind of like more open, so I could decorate it a bit more, maybe add just like some smaller trees there and whatnot. So we got to work on all of that. We grew all of the giant jungle trees. We then just went around and planted a bunch of just single jungle trees just to go ahead and fill in these empty areas here, add a little bit more texture to everything. We went ahead and grew all of that, and then I went ahead and used this bone meal to simply just spawn some grass and flowers around the general area because just a flat grass biome kind of looks boring. So adding all of that grass made it look a little bit better, and I figured since we're in a jungle, we might as well just add some bamboo while we are here. So I grabbed a bunch of bamboo, planted that, bone mealed all of that, worked on it a bit more, and there you go. After several hours of work, we have finally completely terraformed this entire area. It looks way better than I actually thought it was going to. I absolutely love this thing. We are going to keep the beacon. The beacon's going to be removed eventually. I just have that here for now for the speed and whatnot. But other than that, we are pretty much done terraforming this entire thing. In my opinion, it looks really amazing. Like, you're walking around in this thing and you would hardly even know you're at the bottom of the ocean. I really, really love how all of this turned out. And now all that was left to do was actually to kind of destroy it a little bit. We were going to build the end ships and make this entire area look like it was under attack. So I just sat atop a jungle tree and I tried to envision how I wanted this to look, the general idea that I had. And I went ahead and used Lightmatica to go ahead and get a hologram of the end ship, so that way I could sort of play around with the positioning to try and figure out where I wanted everything to go. And then once I had a general idea, we actually went ahead and got to work. I went ahead and started off by building a giant 23 by 23 nether portal behind all of this to make it look like that's how the end ships got here, and then I built the end ship. It only took me about 15-20 minutes to build one end ship because I actually simplified the build to make it a lot easier. So yeah, we have this one end ship, and I made it look like it's coming through that nether portal. And now I'm going to build a second end ship to the right of this one to make it look like there was a second end ship coming out of that one nether portal. Kind of like they're all just sort of transporting here from the end to come attack Atlantis or whatever. I thought it was a pretty cool idea, and so yeah, that's what I went with. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and spend one more time lapse to build the rest of the ships, and here you go. We're just building the second one over near the other nether portal, and then I figured a really cool idea for the third ship would actually make it look like it's currently coming through a different nether portal, and I actually really like how that one turned out. And so there you go, all of the ships are built. We have the two up front like they are coming to attack, and so I need them to literally look like they are attacking. So I went ahead and grabbed some TNT to go ahead and explode this area a little bit to look like that giant ship shot like a cannonball at the monument here. And then once I had a giant hole created by the TNT, I then decorated the area with a little bit of netherrack to set that on fire, a little bit of obsidian. I figured I could also add like some lava and whatnot to make it properly look like there was a giant, massive fireball explosion just absolutely decimating this monument. So I just got to work on all of that. I made 3 massive explosions since how there were 3 end ships Took me a little while, and we just got all of that worked out, and we got all of that done. Finally, here you go. Here is the end result. We have this one nether portal, which spawned in these two end ships, and then the nether portal to the right, which is currently bringing in the other end ship, and they are absolutely destroying the monument. I am really, really happy with how all of this turned out. I even added one little explosion into my wall here to make it look like this is, you know, Atlantis. Atlantis is underwater. It was destroyed. So this is basically the start to that of Atlantis being destroyed. This tree also accidentally caught on fire and partially destroyed, but I actually kind of like how that turned out. So yeah, I mean, just look at this thing. It looks so fantastic and it looks so perfect. It is Atlantis currently being under attack by the end ships in Minecraft. This thing turns out far better than I thought it was going to. This is easily one of, if not the favorite things I have ever built. It just looks so cinematic. It looks so perfect, and I am absolutely in love with this thing. And so I've decided to give it a name, and this build is officially called The Fall of Atlantis. It truly does look like this is the beginning of the end for this monument, and again, I just can't understate it enough. I really love this build, and I really, really hope you guys love it too. It took me quite a long time to build. It actually took me over 100 days to build this entire thing, but it was well worth it in my opinion. If you guys did like this video, please be sure to like button, subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any future projects, and I will see you guys in the next one.